And today I'm very honored to have here with us the ambassador of Estonia, Sua Eccellenza, His Excellency Lauris Bambus. I will leave the floor to one of your colleagues that will introduce him, and she is just ready. Good morning. And then he will talk as usual for 15, 20 minutes. I think that's the time that he's going to take for his lecture, and then you are welcome with your question. Please.
Hello. Mr. Larry Bambus was born on May 31st, 1969 in Valga, Estonia. He holds 2 degrees from the University of Tartu, a cum laude degree in Russian language and literature from the Faculty of Philosophy, and a degree in law from the Faculty of Law. He has also completed specialized courses in international diplomacy at the Vienna Diplomatic Academy with honors, and in human rights at Turku University, Finland. Mr. Bambus had a distinguished career at the Estonian Ministry of Foreign Affairs since 1995. He currently serves as the ambassador to the Italian Republic since 2024. His previous positions include ambassador to Iceland and Norway from 2020 to 2024, Chief of State Protocol and Director General of the State Protocol Department 2017 to 2020, and ambassador to the United Kingdom. Earlier roles include Undersecretary for Legal and Consular Affairs, Consul General in St. Petersburg, and diplomatic postings in Brussels and Warsaw. In academia, Mr. Bambus has lectured extensively on diplomacy, protocol, and consular affairs at the Estonian School of Diplomacy, and he has received numerous national and international honors, including high decorations from Italy, the Netherlands, Latvia, France, Finland, Poland, and Estonia. Thank you so much, dear Ambassador, for being here. Thank you.
So, thank you very much indeed. And first of all, of course, buongiorno, bonjour. I heard French here. And very, very great honor to be really in front of here. And thank you, Giorgio, for this festival you are organizing already so many years. Indeed, I have been posted already in many different countries, and I'm serving to the Estonian Foreign Ministry more than 30 years. So I have been posted in Russia, in UK, in Norway, and as it was said, from last year to Italy, but also I am co-accredited to Malta, San Marino, and the Order of Malta. But today I'd like to also discuss with you, and also would be very happy to hear some questions and ideas from you, which I can take later with me back to my work. I don't know how many of you have been in Estonia. 1, 2. 2 people, okay. Then let's start very briefly. Estonia, and you know where Estonia is, definitely. Okay, good. Now I see everyone nodding. Estonia, very many people are thinking that, well, it's a country from the 1990s, something appeared on the map. In fact, of course, we celebrated already our 106th anniversary, and Estonia got its independence already after the First World War in 1918. So 50 years, Estonia was occupied by Soviet Russia and Soviet Union from 1940 till 1991. And that's why many people, particularly younger people, are confused that, well, Estonian Republic, like Latvia, Lithuania, and other might be just created or established in the beginning of the 90s of last century. When we regained the independence in 1991, it was a question, as usually, that, well, what is our future? What we will do? What is our path, the further steps? And one thing was clear. We would never like to be occupied. We would always want to decide our own, what to do, what will our people want. 1.3 million people today, and we have become a global leader in digital governance, definitely. We become a staunch defender of European security and a proactive participant in international diplomacy, if you ask what Estonia stands for today. So today, Estonian political system, and there are many foreign, let's say, goals which we would like to achieve are connected to our membership to the European Union and also to the NATO, to UN and other international organizations. So we consider ourselves definitely very pro-Western country, which stands and our solidarity for democracy and human rights, the rule of law, etc., etc. So there are many questions, definitely, whether we are united in the European Union right now. Yes, we are very strongly believe. If you look at the statistics, how many people in one or another country think that EU is good, then definitely Estonia is among the leader countries who are saying that the European Union is good for our people, for our citizens. We are the member of the European Union since 2004, as also we are member of NATO. But we know the challenges right now ahead of us being the members of international organizations, and I would like to come back to this a little bit later as it concerns the war, what is right to our doors, and I refer definitely the Russian aggression war to Ukraine. But of course, I encourage you to think during this meeting today that how can also small states influence global affairs, and what lessons can, for example, Italy might learn from smaller country as Estonia is. So, as I said, we regained the independence from the Soviet Union in 1991 following a peaceful movement known as a singing revolution. Estonians consider themselves quite often like a singing nation. And indeed, maybe you have heard that we have UNESCO cultural heritage in Estonia. It's a big song and dance festivals where tens of thousands of people are coming together, sing together. And in 1990s, we had also the singing revolution when people came to the streets, and we call it that, well, we sang ourselves free from the occupation time. It's not always the case, as we know, that many people also right now in Ukraine are fighting for their independence and sovereign integrity. Today, Estonia is a parliamentary democracy with a unicameral legislature called the Riigikogu, and Estonia is proudly taking part in all international forums and organizations, including OECD, OSCE, and UNESCO, and already mentioned UN different forums. Truly, Estonia is a digital country, and we got through the digital transformation. And Estonia was the first country to offer e-residency, allowing non-citizens to start businesses and access services online. In fact, 99% of public services are available digitally today. Estonians can vote, pay taxes, even sign legal documents online. This digital-first approach has become a cornerstone of Estonia's soft power. Just yesterday, we had also the local elections in Estonia, and very big percentage of our population also voted electronically, i-voting. I decided this year not to use the electronic voting because the polling stations, they feel so bored, there are no people. So I went in Estonia yesterday just to make them active as well. So they were very happy to see me physically voting. But why am I bringing this digitalization to you also today? Because it's a big topic in very many countries, including our hosting country, Italy, where we are talking about the digitalization of different kinds of services and also using modern technologies, etc. In the 90s, Estonia introduced the Tiger Leap, which meant that, well, we wanted to bring to every student, every pupil in schools, the access to computer, so that everyone had to have the computer in the 90s. And from this school year, we have a new program. It's AI, Artificial Intelligence Leap, which means that every student should have the access to the artificial intelligence. And we are teaching students of grades 10, 11, and teachers to use it and to know the challenges which also comes with the artificial intelligence. So not everything is always good, but we have to be sure that when we are using it, then it's all good. And of course, all kind of e-services. In Estonia, we sometimes also make a jokes, put E in front of any word, and then you get Estonia. So e-health, e-pharmacy, e-school, not mentioning, of course, already for you known e-parking and other things. So everything is online. Of course, you may argue whether it's safe or not, but so far, every time when we are approaching, for example, iVoting, then there are many tests that it's really trustful, that it's not easy to hack and misuse the systems. So if you will think about your using of new technologies, including artificial intelligence, then let us know how can we improve it, because sometimes in Italy there are lots of talks, but not always lots of actions following. But let's see. Why? It's also the question in many big countries, because let's say in France, in Germany, they are saying, oh, we have long traditions, we have so many regions, they are all independent, etc., etc., etc. But I think that it's more important to have a will. If you have a will, then you have also the results. So as I was limited now, my address to you to 20 minutes. So I'm jumping, giving you just hints about different topics, because as you heard, I have been also a lecturer and a teacher on different universities and schools. So I can talk hours and hours. Please stop me. But still, to give some few hints. So about the foreign policy foundations currently. First of all, Estonia's foreign policy is shaped by its geography and history. Estonia sharing a border with Russia on east is definitely historically very linked to everything which is happening in our eastern neighbor. So our countries are divided by water mostly, but there is also some land board with swamps and so we control it quite well. Of course, during the winter time, when one of the biggest lakes in Europe is really frozen, then people could, let's say, come and cross the border. But well, these days, I assure you, Estonia guards EU and NATO border very, very carefully. And we spend today in Estonia almost 3% of our GDP on defense. You know, now there are many talks about the NATO member states, but also the allies and partners, that how much do we have to spend on defense. We took the plan that from next year we are spending 5% of our GDP to the defense policy, as it was agreed this year in the NATO summit in The Hague. That all member states should spend around 5% by 2035. It's another question I know in Italy. You know, now currently we're supposed to have already 2% of our GDP spending on the defense. Italy is around 1.6, so not reaching even now. And you know the debates when, how, on which circumstances our friends can reach also this threshold. But it's even bigger question right now in Spain, for example, whose prime minister stated that, well, we are for peace and we are not spending on defense anymore. But I'd like to also say that this isn't just symbolic. It reflects also Estonians' commitment to being a producer of security, if I may say so, in Europe, and not only user of the security, the work which we do together. And already years ago, Estonia hosts the NATO Cooperative Cyber Defense Center of Excellence in Tallinn, positioning ourselves as a leader in cybersecurity. So here we can also have another big lecture on importance of cyber, because there are many words, there are many statements, and et cetera, but still we know how vulnerable our countries are. So there are still talks about what was behind of cut of electricity in Spain and Portugal, what happened also in Italy, who attacked indeed the parliaments in Italy and other countries. So, and here, if you will have other questions related to cyber, I would be glad to elaborate a little bit more here as well. Estonia, as I said, we are a member of very many international organizations, and it means also that we are committed very much to multilateralism. And we are participating very actively at the United Nations. We were elected member of the UN Security Council 2020-21, and just a few weeks ago, Estonia was also elected already second time as a member of the UN Human Rights Council. So it means that, well, these issues are really very important, and we consider ourselves also as a voice of smaller countries at the UN. As we know, particularly in the UN Security Council, where there are few countries who are entitled, authorized to block many ideas coming from other countries as regards, for example, also the situation in Ukraine and Russia, as Russia is the permanent member of the Security Council of the United Nations. Tell me how much time do I have? 5 more minutes. Okay, so I'd like to also discuss something else. Maybe a few words about still Estonia and our politically and cultural, let's say, engagement with other countries. You know that even in Europe, we have the regional policy. So Italy is definitely leading the role of Mediterranean countries and looking very carefully what's going on in this southern region. Estonia is very much engaged with our Nordic and Baltic countries. So we call it also Nordic-Baltic 8, which means that 5 Nordic countries, Finland, Sweden, Norway, Denmark, Iceland, and 3 Baltic countries, Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania. So if you see the statements at the UN or also other forums, for example, OSCE, OECD, then there are quite often the statements on behalf of 8 countries. And if we are talking about our countries, then definitely the regional political situation is very much important for all of us, including, again, our eastern neighbor politics right now. And so now I reached really to the situation in Ukraine. In fact, if you are watching the foreign policy issues last, let's say, years, last months, then there are 2 big things on radars. One is the Middle East, situation in Gaza, which is very, very important also for the Italians, for the Italian politicians. And then there is also already almost 4 years going on war. We consider the war much longer, already from 2014 in Ukraine, when 2021 as Russia started the invasion and aggression in Ukraine. So since 2022, Estonia has provided over 500 million in aid to Ukraine. Estonia considered one of the biggest supporter of Ukraine in this war, because it's not only that Ukraine is very close to us, but we know also from our own past, and we know what does it mean if a big neighbor is attacking you. So the aid has not been only the civilian and humanitarian, but also military aid. So if you look what kind of aid the other EU and NATO member states have provided to Ukraine, then you see that, well, the aid could be very different. So our aid is including Javelin missiles, field hospitals, but also cyber defense support, etc., etc. So, Estonia also co-leads an international IT coalition with Luxembourg, mobilizing 1.1 billion euros to support Ukrainian digital infrastructure. Domestically, there is always questions that how many refugees one or another country have right now. At the beginning of the war, we had more than 60,000 of Ukrainians fled from their homes. So once again, our population is 1.3 million. So it's a big percentage. And today we are welcoming over 43,000 Ukrainians who are waiting the end of the war in Estonia. It's a significant number for the country as mine. And definitely this influx is reshaping Estonia's labor market, demographics, and the government is investing in integration programs a lot. So, of course, if I'm meeting Italian politicians, if I'm meeting my Italian colleagues, and we're talking about Russia, there are usually 5 topics which I'm raising on the table. These are sanctions of the EU towards Russia. There are increasing of taxes to Russian products. There is also fight against the shadow fleet, which is also important. But there are also the visas which are given to Russian citizens and so on. So, of course, we are very much united with our allies if we are talking about the war in UN or OSCE. But you know also that the EU is big family which is supposed to share the same values, and we have to be solidarity. Still, we have different voices and different opinions. I'm not naming, there are a few countries who are still saying that, well, we should not maybe pay so much attention to Ukraine and Ukrainian future. Nevertheless, Estonia believes that Ukraine must also belong to the EU family, and one day there is also the day when Ukraine will be the member of NATO. But of course, there are many topics to discuss before that. And very briefly also where we are in the bilateral relations with Italy. Estonia and Italy have very long relationship, and not only the official one, which started in 1921, when Italy recognized Estonian independence, but even before that, as many Estonian artists and trade people traveled to Italy to learn and also just to enjoy Italian culture and cuisine, which we are doing also today. Currently, we have also 6 Estonian honorary consuls who are working across Italy, including Florence, Genoa, Palermo, Venice, Bari, and Milan. And definitely, Italy is a G7 country, very big trade and economic country in Europe, in the world. But just few numbers. For example, I took the statistics from August. This year, Estonia exported 1.43 billion euros in goods, and while imports reached 1.69 billion euros. So there is still room for improvement. And when you are asking Estonians that, well, how are you? Then usually the answer is we are okay, because there is always room for development. There is, why I'm bringing it also, because very often in southern, our partners, in Italy, in France, everything is, in Spain, magnificent. Everything is always very good, excellent, benissimo, smiley. But in Estonia, it's usually always, oh no, we should improve ourselves. Although we have to be very proud. We have to be in Estonia very proud of many things. If you look the different statistical leaderboards, Estonia is among top 5 very often. So transparency, the journalists, then the, for example, also unicorns. Estonia has now 11 unicorns, which is definitely above all many bigger countries these days. But what is important now in cooperation between Estonia and Italy, we are doing very close cooperation in the military field. And right now, from August till next March, Italian air policing is patrolling over the Baltic states from Estonia. And just last week, no, 2 weeks ago, Italian President Sergio Mattarella visited Estonia, and he also met 500 Italians Air Force men, greeting them. And before him, there was also the Minister of Defense, Crosetto. So we are very happy that as Estonia is a small country, we do not have big air force, then it's very, very appreciated. And our partners and allies are coming to make us stronger together. But definitely we have been together with Italy in many other peacekeeping missions, like in Kosovo, for example, but also in other places. So, and I know that it's almost time for the questions, but I just check what I just missed. I mentioned about the cyber, digital governance, human rights. We are small, but we are happy and proud. I am definitely. So. Okay, I think that I should stop here, because I see in the audience that, well, you might be interested in some other topics as well. Should I moderate myself? Yes, true. No. Please shoot.
Thank you, Mr. Ambassador, for an honor today. And as you know, Estonia is a small country that is bordering Russia with a small population, but a strategic position in the Baltic Sea. That with cooperation between Estonia and Finland, it can cut the St. Petersburg fleet of Russia. So, and also in its security, it's kind of dependent on the West because of the small population and the size. So my question is, do you think that the West is using the protection that is given to Estonia as a diplomatic pressure to shape the foreign policy of Estonia? And do you think that Estonia can use its strategic position to counter that force?
Thank you. I don't know, as you were the first, let's take the first question now, and then later we may collect also other more questions, if it's okay with you. First of all, of course, as I mentioned, this Nordic-Baltic format is very important for our region, because we share geographically, politically, and etc. many common issues. Including also environment of our, let's say, the Baltic Sea. So name it only. That's why, of course, this format is very important. Then inside of that, Estonia and Finland are very, very much linked. And because we are starting from that, well, we are sharing the same language group. So we could communicate, not very easily, but still Estonian and Finnish language are very close to each other. And we are very much the same on the mentality, on the religious, etc. So it keeps us very close to each other. If you see that, for example, the other countries might have some other aspects. Talking about, of course, Estonian foreign policy and foundation of that, for us, it has been very vital, definitely, to say to our partners, our allies in the EU, in NATO, what's happening next to our border. Sometimes, let's say 20, 30 years, Estonia, also Latvia, Lithuania, were considered like Russophobes, that, well, you are just only afraid of that. You don't understand the Russian soul. Russians are very good. They are not harming anyone. When we already said then that look in the history, everything goes on spiral. And knowing Putin and his regime, we know exactly what are his goals and aims. And that's why it was important, and it is still important, to talk to our friends what is happening right now. Because frankly, many countries, they are thinking it's too far. It's just a war between two Slav peoples, and they can manage themselves. But it's not the point. Ukrainians are fighting now for all of us, for Europe. So it's indeed, if they would be conquered by 3 days, as Putin promised at the beginning, it could say that, well, they could go further. I mean that they could also attack, maybe not immediately NATO, but Moldova. We know the interference in Georgia and other countries neighboring to Russia. But saying that, definitely we see what's happening right now. Even now, Russia testing us. Maybe you have heard the incident of the 19th of September, just months ago, when a Russian jets, MiGs, entered Estonian airspace. And I don't say it's Estonian, it's EU, NATO airspace. And 12 minutes, they just flew. They were, of course, monitored by NATO radars, by Italian air forces. So, of course, it was clear evidence. We could not say that, oh, it was accident. It was, I don't know, half minute in our airspace. 12 minutes, more than 100 kilometers. Definitely, we raised the issue in the UN, at the UN Security Council, showing the pictures and radars. But you know, the Russians are keeping very low profile, saying, oh, it was not us. How it's not you? Look on the picture. Italians made the picture from one cockpit to another one. They signal that you are violating. And then you know that, well, some member states are saying, oh, next time, for example, Poland are very much advocating, we should shut down all the objects flying into our airspace. And you remember also the drones a few weeks before our incidents, etc. We are not always on this position that, well, we have to shoot immediately down. But we have to be very clear that if there is imminent threat to Estonia, to NATO, to EU, we should react together and immediately and very bravely. So definitely we are continuing to talking about the security and our defense policy in different capitals, in different organizations. So we are continuing, and we are happy that there are unity in this sense. Is it okay? Yeah, okay. So I see, very happy. You know, usually you don't know how many people would like to ask. Let's start then like this.
Hello, my name is Ipek and I'm from Turkey. Thank you so much for your speech. I want to ask a question on cybersecurity of Estonia. What is Estonia doing differently from the rest of European countries, as I'm studying cybersecurity a lot? Estonia has been, from my research, although being a small country, a quite safe bubble compared to both small and large countries in the EU. And I want to know what has been doing differently, and how can people in international relations and diplomacy can help with the cybersecurity space today. Thank you.
Mhm. Go ahead. Not to forget, okay, cyber. Mhm. Yes, please.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency, for your speech. I'm Francesca and I'm from Italy. I wanted to ask, I was really impressed by how Estonia is managing the whole defense policy and especially the voting system. This is something that I've been interested into, and also how it is managing digitalization. I was thinking, how can Italy actually improve all of these things in their country? And I also like the fact that you are always like developing these things and not saying that this is enough for your country. And I also wanted to ask, you talked about the situation of Estonia and the whole Russia-Ukraine war. How is Estonia managing also the relations with the Middle East? That is something that is really affecting the geopolitical situation of our countries nowadays. Thank you.
Mhm.
Hello, my name is Mikhail. I'm from Moldavia. And I wanted to ask, so Estonia, as I remember, has, you said 11, last time I checked, 10 unicorn startups, which
Yes.
is in absolute terms more than Italy, actually.
Absolutely. I'm very
And,
proud of that. I'm not
You are number one in the world, I think. You are
Uh,
twice as many as second place Israelis and 3 times as much as
by per
Americans.
capita, definitely.
Yeah. So my country doesn't have them. So I wanted to ask, how did you do this? And what would be your recommendations from Moldavia and for Italy to copy your success in this field? Thank you very much.
Difficult. Okay, let's answer to these 4, but still very different issues. First, about the cyber. Indeed, I would start from already many years ago, already in 2007, when Estonia was attacked severely on our different services, online services. And this cyber attack we consider as a first test for Estonia. When many countries, including European countries, said, oh no, we are safe, there is nothing happening, etc., etc. But when already then we saw how vulnerable are not the military side, but our civilian sides are. The bank system, the health system, the energy system, the hackers could affect very easily those infrastructures which are vital for our population. So from that, definitely we paid more attention. It started that the private companies, the state companies, the academia started to work together to provide new cyber defense policies. And as I mentioned now, we have also in Estonia the Center of Cyber Excellence of NATO, but does it mean that, well, it deals only with the NATO or military sectors? And there are now almost 30 countries members of that, and it means that, well, we are working together to protect our infrastructure, our population, if I may even say globally. And there are also manual worked out, Tallinn 2, it's a cyber manual, which gives the directions how to cooperate together, not only in the physical work, but also in the legal framework, as there are still many debates that how we think that cyber works really, how we can protect our populations, etc. So it's important manual, and every year there is also big exercises organized in Tallinn. Several thousands of people from different countries are taking part in this exercise. So there is, you know, exercise is bad and good. So they are fighting to find that who could beat whom. So it also gives an opportunity to those countries who would like to improve their cyber defense very big way. And digitalizations and e-services, how we can also work here. Personally, here in Italy, for example, when I have talked to Italian politicians, and they are sometimes very proud, oh, we now have next step in our judicial, for example, the court system recently. And I said, yes, we have it done, but well, if you would like to learn something, we are open. But then, as I mentioned, some countries are saying, oh, we are too big, we cannot do so fast, our money resources are also limited, etc. But I don't think that these are really excuses, because look how fast are developing also the mobile phone, the different kind of e-service and platforms. So I think that, well, consider myself also still young generations, not mentioning even you are using so many different things that you have to be, let's say, feeling comfortably using them, not afraid that someone will steal your data or someone misuse your identity, etc. So it means also that, well, we have to work on that side as well. Educate people from very, very early stages. So I mentioned that, well, this year we launched a program, AI Leap in Estonia for 10th and 11th grade, but I didn't mention that in many schools we have robotics already in the kindergarten and also the first grade. So it also helps to accommodate, and particularly young girls. There are special programs for girls, because sometimes, oh, girls are too shy, they are singing, dancing, they are not interested in digitalization, etc. No, they are sometimes maybe shy, and they are very good in that as well. So we are improving all the time also our services. Just also remind that when we introduced digital signature many years ago, we said signing digitally, we save 2% of our GDP. So it was exactly this GDP which went to the security defense policy, just signing digitally. I'm very sorry, but in many countries you are still going to the banks, etc. I'm not referring any, but well, one very close to me now. I went to open my bank account and I signed 56 times some papers. I even didn't understand what I'm signing. Hold on, sign. So maybe I sold my kidney. Okay, Middle East. Indeed, I'm very sorry. I didn't mention. I mentioned that there are currently two important issues for our perspective. It's not only. There are more than 50 places where in the world there are conflicts or wars. Mr. President Trump has declared himself as a peacemaker in Azerbaijan and Armenia, in Iran, now also in Middle East. But indeed, after Ukraine, for us, it's also important what's going on in Gaza, what's going on in Middle East. And like Italy, Estonia has not recognized Palestine as a state, but we absolutely support the two-state solution. And now when the preconditions have been done, I believe that, well, it goes toward that, well, peace will be settled also in Palestine-Israeli relations. As we all have seen, the suffers, very serious suffers in the region. So once again, being the member of many international committees and organizations, Estonia always stands for the human rights, for the peace, and etc. So it's definitely important. And unicorns, indeed, 11 unicorns. Some argue that, well, there are 10, and the 11th is shared with Norway. Okay, let it be. 10 is also good. What to say? I think that we should trust more young people, because the very first unicorn was, maybe you are too young, it was Skype. You don't remember maybe, but it was the first platform where people could talk. Like I know now there are many, WhatsApp and Signal and every group where you can also make the face calls. So it was something, well, happened in the world. But definitely we have right now the unicorns which are dealing with the finance sectors, so it's business, also in food industry, in other things. And what is my point? That, well, we have to encourage young people with their ideas. And it's also the state policy. State should support and give them the opportunities to develop. What is the problem in Estonia? That yes, we have those unicorns, but we have even more talented people. What we don't have always enough, it's money. And then the investors are coming from other countries. And if they find the talented people with bright ideas, they are just buying them over. And one of those are definitely US, who is inviting all the talented people, and many people are leaving also to the United Kingdom. But what is important that the people-to-people contacts are going further, that also the ideas could be shared, and then I'm absolutely confident that there will be also better results, not only in our country, but also globally. And there are many ideas, believe me. There is no shortage of ideas. So, do we still have time? Yes. Now we move this sector, and there is also one. Please.
Hello, thank you for your speech, Your Excellency. I'm Elisa and I'm from Italy. And considering you said that Estonia supports the membership of Ukraine to the European Union, do you believe that it's only a political move? And considering the fact that Ukraine still does not meet the Copenhagen criteria, especially for the low GDP and the high corruption, so would it then make the integration progress in the long run a lot difficult? So how do you think it should be managed in the long run if it's made now only as a political move? Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Mr. Ambassador. Thank you for your speech. I wanted to ask, we see that many post-Soviet republics still under major Russian influence, both culturally, linguistically, and also governmental systems, and the Russification process is still an ongoing problem. But we see that Estonia has built itself a truly independent position and fully aligned with the West. What do you think made this possible? Thank you.
So let's take this, and there is also one lady, and then.
Thank you for your speech. I'm Lorenzo from Italy, and I have a question regarding the cybersecurity situation, not only for Estonia, but all European countries. So, as you know, there have been recent proposals for the chat control situation, which, mind you, has already been, I think, declined about 2 or 3 times. Do you believe, in case it actually passes, could be a breach of privacy, actually could do more harm than good?
And there is also in the corner, I see that. Well, usually the first rows I always get the opportunity to ask, but then I'm pity those who are sitting there. Please.
Good morning, I'm Sarah, I'm from Italy, and I have 2 questions. Thank you for your speech, first of all.
It's always the issue that, well, in the last row, there are 2 questions.
I have 2 questions, if it's possible.
No.
So, what were the first moves, like social, economical, after the independence from the Russia occupation? And the second one is, if, in your opinion, Russia has a name in this moment for all these events, like the Jets invasion or the drones invasion, if there is a name behind all these actions, in your opinion. Thank you so much.
Yeah, these are, of course, 2 separate lectures. I can, give me the word. But okay, I will come back to the situation in Estonia after regaining of the independence, and also the fight against Russian hybrid, let's say, attacks and hybrid issues. So, but first of all, Ukraine and about the Ukrainian future. We absolutely understand that there are criteria which every candidate country should fulfill before becoming the member state. So, but Estonia has been always for the open door policies, not only to the European Union, but also to other organizations. If the member state, or if the, let's say, the country would like to become a member state, and there is a wish and big support also from the population. And it means also that, well, we are supporting the future membership for the Western Balkan countries, but still we believe that maybe one day Turkey finally will join the European Union, but so on and so forth. In case of Ukraine, and it was in case of also Moldova, it's an important signal politically to give them that, well, that they are not alone, that in the future they belong to this big family. And if they will make the efforts, of course, there are many things to do. But, and particularly for Ukraine, it's very difficult during the war, all those reforms which we expect they have to fulfill. But definitely the signal that, well, we are working together, we are reforming the country, they are the future member of the EU. It's definitely our position. We know also that there are some concerns that it's a very big country, it's agricultural country, that some member states are now feeling that, oh, it will affect also their agricultural sectors, not naming which ones, but, well, they are neighbors to Ukraine themselves. So saying that, I believe that we can continue supporting different reforms and different changes, developments in Ukraine. And it will not be maybe in 1-2 years, but as regards the EU, they are making the big improvements, and it could happen, let's say, in the nearer future, if we are put on the other side NATO membership, which we're also saying that, well, they are ready, but there are bigger concerns currently now when they are having the war with Russia, and no one wants to really further escalate the situation. Although, frankly, from my perspective, there is no room for escalation. It's already going on war 4 years almost. So what else you can escalate? So I personally was also disappointed after the last meeting of Zelensky and Trump, which was held just 2 days ago, after Trump talked again to Putin, and Putin promised him many things. I don't know what exactly. I was not in the same room, but let's see in Budapest if it will follow the next things. Sovietization and also these questions which related to the Soviet republics. Once again, I must say that it's very much irritating, for example, if you're referring also to my country, to Estonia as an ex-Soviet country. I know that many are doing, also the journalists here, oh, this ex-Soviet country. Once again, Estonia was independent from 1918. We were occupied. We were not voluntarily joined this club for 50 years. What concerns the other Eastern and Middle Asian countries, you refer, there is Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Tajikistan. It's difficult, but we have seen also the recent, let's say, meetings on the high level, also between the presidents. And it's quite funny to see how the Russification is now moving away. The very last was the meeting of, I think Lukashenko went to one of those countries, and the children came to greet President of Belarus in a Belarusian language. And of course, the president, he doesn't speak very well, he replied in Russian. So it means that also those countries, they are dependent on Russia, on Russian economy, on the economy, the like, trade. And also if we are fighting the, let's say, dual transiting of our goods through those countries to Russia, then we know that they are dependent. But we have to support still them on the way to democracy. So we have seen what happened in Georgia. It's a very vulnerable situation also in other Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, Kazakhstan, in those countries. And that's why we are very much appreciating those partners, allies who are visiting them, concluding bilateral issues as well, including Italy. Italian president was a week or 2 weeks ago in Kazakhstan, in Azerbaijan, for example. And we know the vulnerable situation between Azerbaijan and Armenia already. So we have to support those countries further on, even if they are dependent on Russia. We know it very much. Cyber issues again. Cyber is, you know, it's mystery, it's secret. You never know exactly to whom to attribute it. Very often there are 2, 3, 4 suspects who are always curious what's happening in other countries, how to intervene to other countries' civil societies. And one is obvious. I already named it. I'm very sorry. I'm not very diplomatic, but it's Russia. We know also Russian cyber attacks in Italy. But there are also other players, other, let's say, parties who would like to intervene into the everyday life in every country, which means that, as I mentioned already, the cooperation between like-minded countries should continue and be strengthened. And this Cyber Excellence Center in Estonia is one of those formats. And we have to work closer to avoid those attacks or attacks which might influence our everyday life. As I said, these sectors are very broad, very wide. So, and to educate the peoples. I don't know, do you have such kind of tests? For example, in Estonia, we have obligatory to make the tests among the civil servants. Every year, you have to answer to 20 questions on the cyber issues. So while I'm telling it, I just did it last week. So 45 minutes, you have to watch one video, then you have to make 20 questions test. And it's very basic things. The cyber hygiene, as we call that, well, you know, don't leave the things there and there. Be careful who is watching, who is following. Don't give your identity codes, etc. So it's all important to educate the people, and also the senior people, not only the younger. But when we started at the beginning in the 90s, then we introduced the ID cards with the electronic chips, and then it was questioned, oh, senior people, they will not follow it, they don't understand. No, they are smart. Try. So, and also after the regaining of independence in Estonia, how was the economy and the situation? Of course, collapsing of everything, it makes some kind of chaos. But for Estonia and for other our regional countries, it was also opportunity to build up new society, to start from many things from scratches, including the digital society. So we introduced the first ID cards with electronic chip, the data on that. We provided first the opportunity to vote electronically in the world, etc., etc. So in economy, Russia as a neighbor, with neighboring countries, you always have the biggest trade partnership. We lost 10%, which we had with Russia. Definitely it was declined. And if someone argues that, well, Estonia is pro-war, no, we are pro-peace. And maybe one day we will return also to the good neighborhood with our eastern neighbor, and we will restore our economic and trade partnership. But I'm afraid that it will take now a very long time. Not at this regime which Russia has currently. But once again, it would be natural to have good relations with all your neighbors. And Russian actions further, once again, they will continue to test. They are testing our solidarity. They are testing our unity. Russia is always looking for the weakest link. So we know it's also from our past, our history, and that's why they are playing very smartly to some of EU member states, also to some NATO member states. So we have to be very cautious. We have to understand what kind of games and plays Russia has. So I see that you are now standing already. Huh? No, oh, continue. Okay. 5 minutes. Okay, if there are still questions, or I didn't maybe answer exactly what you asked, was it okay, or you wanted? It's okay. Once again, about Russian and Russian aggression, we can continue long, because it's really violation of all international regulations and rules and agreements, because Russia is usually playing this game. No. We are just taking what belongs to us. We are also for peace in the world. But we see how And now it was very strange statement from the US when they also said, well, please stop the war and go to your homes. You have seen this picture in social media, but there is no homes. Many towns and cities have been destroyed. So once again, all tools against the aggression we have to continue. So now I saw also one hand here in the first row. Good opportunity.
Hello, so thank you very much for your speech.
Welcome.
I had a question more related to the soft power of Estonia. How does Estonia seek to promote its culture and identity to the rest of the Europe? And does Estonia also encourage the students to take part in Erasmus or other exchange programs?
Absolutely. Already from the 90s, it was very clear that we have to support those students who would like to discover the world, who would like to learn more about the opportunities in different spheres of the world, let's say environment, business, those already mentioned, finance services, e-services, etc. So all the exchanges between students and universities are highly welcome. And there are very many curriculums at the Estonian universities, also in English. So Estonian language, I must admit, it's not very easy. It's rather difficult, but including post-graduating, but also the masters, etc. There are many programs in English. And particularly in those spheres, digitalization, cyber, are provided for the international students. So we are not the people that, well, we are discovering something and then we hiding and keeping themselves for ourselves. So we are open and we expect also to share. As I often also say, there is no, let's say, point to invent bicycle yourself. If there is already a bicycle, let's improve it together with those who are interested in the same. So the universities, for example, between Italy and Estonia, we have also space programs. It's a very hot topic right now because we are moving from the Earth to space. We are watching what's going on this planet, also from space, including the environment, but also the data movements, etc. So this is definitely the sphere where we can cooperate with many universities and between the students. Talking about the other soft issues, so definitely we are selling ourselves as a small, beautiful country. So you cannot. And smart. Yes, we are very smart, you see. Me and my colleague who are also sitting here and typing all the words related to report back to Estonia saying that, well, how smart I am. But I'm delighted to meet smart people here. No, we are small and population 1.3 million, but the territory, it's 42 plus 1,000 square kilometers, which is bigger than, for example, Netherlands, which considered also like, oh, big populated country, but by size, Estonia is bigger, but by population, it's 9 times less. So there is space to walk in forests, in bogs, so pure nature. If you will visit Estonia, you definitely feel the difference of air. That air is very clean. I mentioned the leading board that, well, where Estonia is always in top. So I think that Estonia was number 2 or 3 in the world after Iceland and something, where the air quality is so good. So Rome is nice, but all big cities, they are populated and polluted a little bit. No offense. But yes, it's very nice. So the other culture, definitely, well, every country introduces that, well, we have the best cuisine, we have best folk groups, we have this and that. We have, I mentioned already, this UNESCO heritage, song and dance festivals. We consider ourselves as a singing nation. So almost every Estonian is singing in choir or has sang in the choir. So it's also something which we always say I'm proud of. Sometimes Estonia is considered, of course, a little bit shy and modest. in this way, I'm not the typical one. So if you think that, well, all Estonians are like me, no. Estonians are usually sitting, watching, observing, and then, well, making the acquaintances, etc. But if you will find a friend, like many nations, you are the besties, and all your discussions will fruited by good results. So there are many things which I can say and describe, but we have also the wordings that, well, words can say more, but your eyewitnessing is even better. So I welcome you all to visit my country, which is surrounded by sea. We have more than 2,200 islands. So it's also a fact which many doesn't know. Why I'm also saying that, because our southern sisters, they don't have islands. So you can Google and find the battle or the fight between two countries, Estonia and one of our neighboring countries in south, on one island. Years, centuries ago, but we won it. So we have all islands. So, but of course, the history starts not like in Italy and Rome already, I don't know, thousands and thousands of years ago, when we were introduced here, the building and the premises. Georgia said, oh, it's from the 16th century. And then I started to think, what did we have on the 16th century? Yes, indeed, the Hanseatic Tallinn, the capital, were established, but everything started much later. So Estonia is rich by history, conquered by very many countries, all neighboring countries, name it only, but we are proud nation. What we are, what we have. Once again, what did you learn from that? Now, what exactly? What did you learn from that, my last? Yes, this last I replied to you.
Now I really want to go to Estonia.
Exactly. Good. A plus. The answer is, and if you really hesitate whether to go or not, I really recommend, small country, by 2 days you can travel from one part to another one. It's very easy, but you can always make this triangle. Estonia, Finland, Sweden, for example, there are very good ferry connection. So during daytime, lots of fun on land, and during nighttime, lots of fun on ferries. I would do if I would be you. Okay, you see, if you have more questions or I don't know, you didn't have now the opportunity, don't hesitate, send us an email. We try to reply you by emails from the embassy, or to guide you, to show you where you can find easily the answers to your interesting questions and future cooperation. Still, I have 5 minutes.
You can just make the closing remark.
Closing remarks. I never close. I always leave everything open, because there must be some curiosity. If I say that's it, I told you everything, it would be very strange. That, well, ambassador came and said that, well, now that's it. No. Once again, all those topics which I also mentioned today, it was some surface. We could go deeper and deeper and route to different ways. But I think that doing by learning and learning by doing, it applies also to you. So if you will be interested in current cooperation, on startups, on the student exchange, please don't hesitate. We have good programs, we have many ideas, you are most welcome. Estonians are rather good in foreign languages, so I also assure it wouldn't be the case like in some countries, I'm not referring which ones, that people doesn't speak too many languages.
Okay.